Shalom Yahshua, first and foremost, I give a praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakodash, for putting the spirit upon me to do this video. In today's video, it's going to be a little short, a little lesson, a little hit it and quit it. This article is from France24.com, and as you can see, it's the headline, Powerful 7.6 quake strikes off Japan, tsunami warning lifted. And as you know, earthquakes, tsunamis, those are being tempests, things that the Most High said was going to happen, when time drawed nigh, closer to the end. And as you can see, these things are happening. They ain't just happening in Japan, it's happening throughout the four corners of the world. Because as you know, many different places face earthquakes, many different places face tsunamis. Though it may not be published to the public, some places, still go through these things, though it might not hit the major news outlets, because as you can see, this ain't no major news outlet, but it's still out there, that earthquakes are happening, that these different events, these different catastrophic events through the earth is happening, even though it ain't hit the major news outlets, these things are happening, you just have to do your research, you just have to, go into doing, a lack of information yourself, But I can get a couple precepts to drive my point home. The article reads, a major earthquake rocked Japan's northern coast late Monday, with the country's meteorological agency recording several tsunami waves reached the shoreline, and local media reporting injuries. Over there in Japan, they facing earthquakes, and as you know, Japan, is basically, a pretty city, and for that to happen, I can guarantee, that, and be sure that, it leave those people devastated, It reads, the magnitude 7.6 quake struck off Misawa on Japan's Pacific coast, reportedly forced residents to flee their homes and left thousands of people without power. The Japan Meteorological Agency issued a tsunami warning, with one wave hitting a port in the northern region of Aomori, Salakia, if I pronounced it wrong, where Misawa is located. Several more waves reached the coast, measuring up to 70 centimeters, 2 feet 4 inches. So that's basically the height of a toddler. So as you can see, the Most High, is visiting this place in all different forms, all different ways, and this is, liking to happen throughout the four corners of the world, not because it didn't happen, in the place where you reside, meaning it won't happen. Other places are facing it, and the Most High is going to bring judgment towards this whole earth, as he said in the scriptures, Further reads, early Tuesday, the agency lifted the tsunami warning according to Kyodo News Agency. JMA kept lower grade advisories in effect for parts of northern Japan and in northern Japan for several hours, but those too were eventually cancelled. Public broadcaster NHK cited a hotel employee in the city of Hachinoi in Aomori as saying there had been some injuries as a result of the quake, which hit at 14:15 being at 2:15, So right now over there, Japan is facing, as they say, earthquakes, and as you know, nothing on the face of the earth is going to happen out of the ordinary. Nothing that's going to happen, unless the Most High orchestrates it, according to Sirach. Wisdom of Solomon 12:1, his spirit is in his incorruptible spirit is in all things, roughly paraphrasing, so the Most High orchestrates everything that's happening upon the face of the earth, and the Most High is in control of everything, so this has nothing to do with Mother Nature, El Nino, urban development, climate change or them hot devices or what's not. Everything is happening through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. I jump on now and says some 2,700 homes were without power, according to Cairo, and there were numerous reports of fire. The quake was also felt in the northern hub of Sapporo, where alarms rang on smartphones to alert the residents. So over 1,200 homes was affected, over there in Japan. So this is just going to show you that the Mosai is going to bring judgment towards the four corners of the world, and he, not because he ain't start with your place, man, he ain't gonna get there, he's gonna get there, Second in just 9:1, it reads, he answered me then and said, he measured me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it's the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, And as you know, signs of the Most High, being these earthquakes, these famines, pestilences, wars, rumors of wars, death and destruction, and any other thing that's happening out there, the Most High is behind that. All these are signs of his coming. As you say, this is how we measure the time according to the scripture. And the scripture always have an answer for everything that's going on. The scripture is our resort. The scripture, is basically our blueprint, our outline, to whereas we know what to do, when certain things happen, and how, to do it, and the scripture also keeps us sane, and like these people, the scripture, far from their mind, they start to panic, start to get scared, but us men of the Lord, rejoice in these things because we know these things has to happen in order for us to gain that salvation. Hopefully we be part of the elect number, Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and approach of the people in the world, then shalt thou understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So the Most High had manifested and declared that these things was going to happen, from before our times, from the times of our forefathers, from the times of the prophets before us, but we just living in these times to as we visit, we living in these times to as we end up, facing these things. But guess what? As I state, this is what, he had written from before our time when the scriptures, that's Romans 15:4, the things that were written for our time were written for our learning, roughly paraphrasing also, so we won't be frightened, when certain things happen. Won't be scared when these things happen because the scripture already told us that how it's going to happen and when it's going to happen or what's not, The scriptures is our guideline, the scriptures keeps us sane. The scripture is basically, our therapy, our peace, Next precept is going to be Matthew 24 and 6. It reads, and ye shall have wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but then is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, meaning all these are the beginning of bad times, of evil, that the Most High said was going to happen, We shall have these things. Why? So that he can bring his judgment, upon this place, because 2/3 of the nation of Israel have forsaken the Most High for a very long time, and he's already fed up now, They follow in the ways of the heathen, so the Most High is going to punish them as if they're the heathen, Only the elect is going to escape this. Hopefully myself and the like-minded I came around the four corners of the world be a part of the elect number, so that we could be saved from whatever the Most High brings upon this earth, so we could, be untouched, because many are called, but a few are chosen, We out there preaching and teaching the highways and the byways. We are just putting up our personal videos. We're just doing all we can, to please the Most High. But we ain't know if we chosen. We ain't know if we saved. We ain't saved until the end, and the end draweth nigh. Just not the end as yet. But these different events, and catastrophes and what's not leading up to the end, The two more major prophecies that happened. That's World War III and the RFID Karagma, So all these things are playing a role in prophecy. All these things are playing a role, in the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This is the book of Isaiah 28 and verse 2. Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one, which, as a tempest of hail and destroying storm, as a flood of many waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. Tempest being any form of natural disaster. So earthquakes fall in that, tsunamis fall in that. Hurricanes, tornadoes, as you can see, it said hail. Storms. Avalanches. Any natural disaster will happen, fall in a tempest. And all this is coming from the hand of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All these are different ways he's bringing judgment. All these are different things he's doing to, get back at his people for forsaking his ways. It's only going to get worse and worse. Peace coming towards this place. It's only going to get worse. The Most High is going to, show us, his wrath. Last precept, shut it down. This is the book of Micah. Salakia. Oh boy. But yeah, like I was saying, the Most High is going to bring forth his judgment, in many different ways, and he's going to start off, with his people, he's going to start at the house of Israel. Can't pull it, I don't know why I didn't pull it up. I think I wrote down the wrong precept, Salakia Hakim. Bear with me. Oh, I know what it is. Zephaniah 3 and 5. Gan, Salakia. This is the book of Zephaniah 3 and 5. The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not. But the unjust knoweth no shame. Every morning he bring his judgment to light. So them people over there in Japan that face this judgment, of those old Christian tsunamis, chances are there was a Jake, because as you know, Jake is scattered through the four corners of the world. We look like everybody, Jake is scattered through the four corners of the world, So we have some Jake over there inside Japan also, so, and as you know, wherever Jake is, the Christians follow, so nothing is happening ordinary or randomly, and the Moses said he bring a judgment to light every morning, so whether it be the form of earthquakes, tsunamis, tempests, or any other tempest, famine, pestilence, death and destruction, war, all that is happening to the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, But hopefully this lesson is much edifying and serve this purpose. I give a praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, for putting the spirit upon me through this video. Shalom.